What's going on? What's going on? Episode 8, straight to it. Tonight we have a very, very touching but sporty, and no pun intended, as far as this topic. It's regarding AAU sports in its totality. What's new? What's different? How does it differ from yesteryear till now? Um, right now, the culture is evolving. Everything is about notoriety, likes, and getting attention. Uh, Not to say that these kids don't work hard. They do work hard for their craft. They do, they have a wide base of audience, even at a young age. Some of them getting paid very handsomely. But now, does that take away from the actual skill set? Does it take away from the moral compass of the sport? I don't know how you feel about it. I don't know where you stand about it, but what you are, you're going to get three perspectives of straight to it to understand how we and what side of the fence we stand on. And Mike, lead the way.
Well, as I said, I brought up AAU, the topic, and at the time, like I said, it was based on what was going on with LeBron James' son, Bronny James, and being selected for the McDonald's All-American team, and also with just me getting back into AAU coaching right now and being around the sport and stuff like that. There's a lot of negatives that a lot of people are putting out there, but people don't also see the positives that come along with this. And that's what I've been hearing a lot, is a lot of the negativity towards it. And again, there is some negative sides to it. And the blame of it, in my opinion, is, let's say, 75-25. It's the organizations. It's the coaches. The players do have a part in it as far as, not listening the same way and, different, approaches that they go about. Some kids, like I said, we feel like some kids are not like that. But the thing is, the reason why that's so much of an issue, I feel, is because now we're looking at everybody to be like that.
Right.
If you're playing, we're expecting every player to be at that level. Or not even that level, but just your mindset is supposed to be there. Like, when we grew up playing ball, what's the reality of that? Everybody, even people who play varsity, whatever it is still not full-fledged basketball players. Some just do it to really enjoy the sport. Some people are not looking to go to the next level. Some people are just, hey, this is an activity for me after school. This is a summer activity. This is something for me and my friends. So no matter how good or so much potential people may see in a player, you got to understand where that player is coming from. Like, then that's the one thing I've learned from being down south here, where we got athletes, but some of them are football players. And they like, I like basketball, but I play football. Right. I got a kid that's pretty good that I'm hoping to come out, but baseball is his thing. You know what I mean? Like, baseball comes first, and everybody be like, what? Like, everything, but baseball is first priority, so other people are, oh man, you should be playing basketball, you should be playing football, this, that, and the third. And that's what happens, because a kid might not be doing what we feel they should be doing as far as the sport is concerned. Then people say, well, this kid don't want it enough, or this kid doesn't, this, that, and the third. Man, like they said, there's only 400 spots in the NBA. And it's 400 spots in the NBA. There's only 30 spots that come open every year, basically.
Right.
With the first two rounds, 30, 40 spots, whatever it is. So the turnover ain't really there. You know what I mean? Like, dudes like LeBron. LeBron retired 10 years ago. Somebody would have had 10 years in the league. You know what I'm saying? Right. Just like Tom Brady. Tom Brady now retiring opens up a door for somebody else to be a coach. But if he wanted to stay, that's a roster spot going. Just like Udonis Haslam. That's a roster spot going, no matter what. So again, with AAU basketball, it goes back to, for me, as I said, that's why I want to talk about this, is one, the coaching.
Okay.
Coaching, programs and organizations, what they're doing as far as trying to really develop these kids on the court and off the court. Because like I said, I was at a high school, middle school game tournament this weekend. And I'm going to tell you, like, me being old school, I hate
Right.
All I
The
hate it.
show off. Yeah.
I
The
hate it.
showmanship.
But I get it now as it being new part of basketball. You know what I'm saying? But for me, every player's doing it. This kid just hit a three. Another kid hits a shot. He got to do something. Another kid, he got to do, like, everybody is doing some type of extra something after making a shot or this, that, and third. When I did certain stuff, it might have been in the moment of the game. You know,
Right.
it ain't the first shot I take. The game just started. I hit the shot. All that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get it in the moment, but it's just like I said. I watched the game, like, and no lie, these kids hit. One kid hit a three, another kid hit a three, another kid hit a three, but each one of them hit a three, did some type of celebration thing after that. And
Right.
my thing is, bro, just play basketball. We get
Right.
it sometimes, but everybody can't be doing this all the time. But that's just me, But
Mhm.
some coaches sit next to a coach, he loves it. He loves that energy from his players and stuff like that. And it do get some players pumped up. So
Right.
again, for me, AAU basketball right now, and what I'm trying to do in regards to that is, really teach, but also bring it back some, because some of those antics and those things like that are the reason why we see so many fights and different things like that going on at these games.
Right.
Somebody can't take it. You done hit a three. Like I said, we high school game the other day, kid turned around, hit him with the jump hook. It was all in his face, like, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, it escalates. Some kids can't really take that,
Right.
like, and that's what we learned this past weekend. Like, kid got upset because these kids was talking, oh, I'm gonna do this to him, I'm gonna do this to him. But I said again, had to look at it. You haven't really played basketball like that. You really played structured, hardcore basketball within these last 2 years. For me, I've been since 8 years old. So by the time I'm 12, it's nothing to me that somebody. But these
Yeah.
kids, no, I'm about to see him after the game. He doing this, and we had to tell him, but you doing it too. You scoring and flexing and all that, but because you lost, now it's a whole nother thing. So again, just really trying to come to this sport and teach and also show compassion to these kids, man, because a lot of people are really not teaching. They're
Right.
just trying to get two or three kids that do something, and the rest of the kids are just there. Y'all just part of the show, but it's about these kids. And at the middle school, high school level, I really feel like everybody should be developing everybody, and that's what I do. Everybody who played for me, like when I in my AU trials and all this, tell all of them, all y'all the man on my team. And ain't
Mhm.
he's not the man, everybody the man. You can
Right.
shoot when you want, he can shoot what he want, you can turn it over, you can make good play, whatever it is. I'm not gonna do it on no, well, he's this, so I cut slack, or he's this. I'm holding all y'all to the same level.
Right.
And you earn your time and you get your playing the way you're supposed to, as far as really earning it and working for it, instead of it being, I'm just trying to play this kid because his mother, his father's in my ear. Or,
Right.
this kid is pretty good. I got to get ahead and let certain things slide that I wouldn't let slide with another player because I don't want to lose this kid. But
Right.
that's why we're not teaching them. So you got so many kids out here that are being catered to, and then when they come across a real program or a real coach or whatever it is, they can't make the adjustment. So that's how you see so many players from our era up until now that were super nice, but then when they got to a certain type of program, couldn't function in it
Right.
because they used to being so free and just being able to do whatever they want and not having no consequences and stuff. Now you deal with a program that's like, bro, we don't care about that. This is what
Yeah.
our structure is. This is what we're doing. If you're not doing that, then you're gone. And that's what these kids are not understanding. I seen a kid, honestly, this weekend lose an opportunity to come to the school that I'm at
Mhm.
off of coming out, getting upset, not giving his teammates a five, coming out the game, and all this stuff like this. Went to the end of the bench, walked all around while the game is going on. Coach didn't say nothing to him. Just let it go, and then ended up putting him back. He sat him out for a while, but put him back in the game later on. Somebody needed to check him. And I felt bad because I wanted to speak to him, but I kind of know the kid and the family, and I feel like the kid wouldn't have been receptive to me. So I kind of
Right.
left it alone. And sometimes you do gotta let these kids learn on their own, even when you done kind of tell them, like, yo, bro, you can't do stuff like that. But
Right.
you want to do it anyway. You think that's right. And he's, different player that a lot of people are definitely in his ear. So I know he knows better. But he's still choosing to do that because he hasn't dealt with any consequences in regards to it.
Jay, you want to take a stab at it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna piggyback with Mike because I feel wholeheartedly. I mean, he really said. I think probably the biggest problems that are in the AAU. I forget who it was. I don't know if it was Kobe or somebody that was very outspoken about being unhappy with the AAU, and they said something to the effect of that there's a higher emphasis on a few winners and a lower emphasis on overall development. And
Right.
Mike said it better than I remember hearing it from a professional on the court. So that's why I'm like feeling this because I'm like, oh snap, Mike really broke it down. I remember hearing that,
Mm-hmm.
but Mike really broke it down. I think that what has to happen is, there has to be an elevated oversight committee, right? And I'm not saying like some type of, boots and belts type person. I'm just mean like someone who can remind the emphasis of
Mm-hmm.
development, overall development,
Right.
right? Because when we do have a focus on just a limited few players, because these are the stars and winning is everything, and two or three guys, one or two guys, and everyone else is just getting where you fit in. The team dynamic isn't really what it should be, right? And it's not really being developed properly. And
Right.
then, we see in the long run that isn't the most helpful way to teach somebody how to play a team sport. Now,
Right.
if this was boxing, I get it. MMA, I get it. Golf, I get it. Right? Even single tennis, I get it. But basketball doesn't really fit. It may help someone become a superstar one day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably not the most liked superstar and probably not the most well-rounded superstar. This can
Mm-hmm.
help one person. But I think that if we develop team dynamics and like Mike made a great example about the person who, he only was out for the game for a little while, but they put him right back in. There's no equal treatment with everyone on the team, and that needs to be there. I remember being young. That was a thing that happened. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
care if you was a 45 point a night dude.
Right.
You came out your face. You sat down too.
Yeah.
And a lot of that's changed,
Mm-hmm.
structure, all of that's changed. And I think some of that needs to come back. And I do understand why a lot of the kids are hype. Like the way, I mean, it's like Mike said, I don't remember being that hype playing sports like football. But I remember being hype when it was like a phenomenal moment, like something
Mm-hmm.
crazy, like a dunk in
Right.
someone's face.
Right.
Whoa, like not just every shot. And it's like that. And I kind of think, and I don't know, I don't have proof of it, but I think it's because this generation is so accustomed to being recorded every day of
Mm-hmm.
their life or
Yeah.
recording themselves. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just like, that's who they've become. Is they've become a constant show. They're
Mm-hmm.
putting
Yeah.
on a show at all times, and it's gonna really it's gonna backfire in the long run. And I really would not like that to happen. It's gonna be a sad overturn at some point.
Right. Um, the way I see it is that I agree with both you guys. The structure and the teaching aspect is lacking. I think is it, I don't really think it's a generational gap. I think when we were growing up, we did a lot of the same things. Like we laughed, we joked around, maybe not to the degree that is going on now, but I think it's, you know, people will tolerate you just as long as you're performing, right? And that's happened since the beginning of time. Like,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of examples is Dennis Rodman. His lifestyle, outside the court, I don't know if we can even talk about it or even touch it. But when he got in between those lines, he was about his business. And so people tolerated it. But, it's different because, back then we didn't have all this. What we're doing right now, being on a podcast and we can see each other respectively in our homes, they didn't have that back then. Like I love Michael Jordan. He would never survive on social media. never with someone cameras and all the hate stories and things like that of what he did, the gambling and stuff like that. Just imagine right now, they can, they have people that are following you 24/7 with cameras. Someone takes a picture of you with their camera phone and you could be at your lowest point. Guess what? Just because you are MJ or someone prominent, they will plaster it all over the place. And then that's the lasting image that people will judge you by. But as it pertains to sports in itself and the amateur status of AAU, it's hard because we've all collectively played sports. We've known and learned and been taught to learn the basics. These kids don't want to learn. A lot of them don't. Some do. I don't knock the ones that do. And those are the ones that are striving for success. But some of them, like Mike said and illustrated, some of them are just doing it because someone from their block told them that they were nice. And that's the only reason why they're doing it. Until they go up against someone or a team that really challenges them and pushes them and gives them some form of resistance, then it's like, oh, then the attitude shows and everybody has something to say and there's some kind of excuse to go by it. And we've seen this picture and we've seen the story over and over and over again. It's hard. But I was speaking to one of my other friends and we were talking about the dynamics of overseas players and even players that grow up in just like out in the country or suburbia and stuff, as opposed to the inner city. The inner city used to be the Mecca. We used to do everything. Oh, I want to play at Rucker Park. Oh, I want to play at this park. Oh, I want to play at this park. Nobody wants to play. You can play in your backyard. You don't have to do it. You just set up a backyard, set up a hoop, and just hoop. You just have to have people that are striving to do that said task, because right now it's hard. You can't play those one said sports like Jay. You had mentioned it. Boxing, MMA, tennis. Yes, you do. In actuality, you need that, but that's all you. That's sole focus. That's you. The other sports, basketball, football, baseball, even, these are things that people are reliant on you to do your job. And I don't think this generation is being taught very well and understanding that. Like I said, opening up the episode, now you have all these business ventures, all kinds of people, boosters, and everyone getting into the air, social media, everybody discussing it. You have kids on, ESPN, and they're getting all kinds of viewerships. Nike is offering these kids millions upon millions of dollars, and the NIL deals that are coming out, which I get it. Like, I was a college athlete. You guys were college athletes, but is it really beneficial to be paying these kids? It doesn't really teach them anything as far as hard work. Like, yes, they are, the stars, the face, and things like that, but the effort is just not there. And it's just hard because not only in basketball, you see it in football, you see the nonsense. Everybody has to dance, has to gloat, has to do something. And, how much, like, what does that bring you ultimately? You don't score any points. Like, I played basketball. Mike, you've played basketball. Jay, you've played basketball. You played football. Someone's doing something and you're dribbling. You're just dribbling the ball. Dribbling the ball gives you how many points? When you look at the nuances of the game, you don't score no points just from dribbling. You're just dribbling the air out of the ball until you go to certain directions. Like we were taught when you're playing basketball, it's north and south. Same thing if you're playing football, north and south. When you start getting into this east and west stuff, you're messing it up for everybody. You're not doing anything. But it's only gonna, again, people will tolerate. A lot of these coaches and organizations will tolerate a lot of these kids and this younger generation because they're productive in some way, some shape or form. So that's my take on it.
Well, part of it again is, let's say, and see, and that's the part of it that I feel like a lot of people at times have the issue with, because, and that's just on any type of topic. Or the focus when somebody, it always goes towards the negative.
Yeah.
So when people be like, oh, you know, even with the generation, yo, this generation is this, the generation is that. And I'm the total opposite of that because I feel like this generation is doing well. You know what I'm saying? Now, this generation is this. Like I said, we're only highlighting the negative part, but we're not talking about the positive parts that come out of this. You know what I'm saying? So when it comes to AAU, all you hear is negativity right now. All you hear is negativity. You don't talk about, nobody talks about the good stuff that goes in. There's a lot of good stuff that goes on there because there are kids who are really putting in that work, doing it the right way, school-wise, playing the game wise, preparing for the game. As far as the NIL stuff, they're doing the things that they're supposed to do to be able to have an option to get those opportunities and stuff like that. So again, a lot of the focus is always put on the negative. And for me, there's a variety of negatives outside of the game being played. As I said, coaches, next right now, referees, then the parents. You know what I'm saying? There are parents that generate or cause a lot of these issues with their kid playing on particular teams because of the stuff that they're telling their kids, and they're telling their kids how to respond to certain things. The parents who, like I said, I had one time I was refereeing, and I think it was a tournament at City College. It was an AAU tournament, and two parents got into a fight at the game of two parents that were, the kids were on the same team. And the game was, they were winning the game. The game, you know, game got up there and they put in the kids who don't really play that much. So even in that time, you had to keep one or two players in that still played a lot of the game. So one of the parents was like, hey, man, you know, your son needs to pass the ball. And that just started. And next thing you know, in the stand, pop, 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 kids shooting free throws. And next thing you know, you look and you see the scuffle going on. And then you see the kid crying and they all, you know, my dad is fighting and my dad's fighting and stuff like this and so on and so forth. And that started off of, like I said, just wanting to, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, but parents have a lot to do with it because, like I said, I've seen parents that are so nice off the court. And as soon as the ball is thrown up in the air, they are a total different person.
Right.
And they're creating some of the drama that's going on in the sidelines. They're enticing it. You complaining, you arguing. We had one lady, she looking at the coach, you crying, she doing all this to the guy and all this. And the guy's coaching. And she's right behind him for the other team saying all this.
Right.
And, you know, he say something to her, but then now somebody, you shouldn't be talking to the crowd. Stop talking to the coach.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't be paying that. Like, but you directing your comments at me directly.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I watched, another podcast, 19 Keys. Well, I can't think of the name right now, but high level conversation.
Right.
And then Dad said this. He said, you know, I have no problem with what you asked me, so you should have no problem with what answer I give you.
Simple. Yeah.
So if you're giving this energy, you can't be mad that it's given back. You know? And like I said, right now, like I said, with me getting ready for this AAU and starting it out here and stuff like that, everybody I've never really had problems with parents because they kind of know where I stand from the gate. They kind of can tell I ain't about none of that, you know. But I am also one who I'm hyped. You know what I mean? I get into it, and especially if my son's playing, you know, that's me. Yeah, we nice like that. You know what I'm saying? I say stuff like I said, it's in the moment of stuff. Right. You know what I'm saying? And then when it's being said, I'm able to, at the end of the game, good game. Like I tell players that I know, I'd be like, yo, like I come out of the game, like, yo, don't take none of that personal. But when we're in the game, yo, he can't dribble. Take it from him. Right. He can't shoot. He can't do this. He can't do that.
Right.
But after it's over, hey, you know, ain't nothing personal. That was just part of the game. Just talking and this, that, and the third. On that note, on the players tip, hey, you got to work on that stuff.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Well, most of the time with me, as I said, I'm the don't poke the bear. once I like it's the same thing like Dan said, yo, you snap on me once, I'm gonna snap on you forever.
Right.
You shouldn't have started.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know? So like I said, with AAU, again, it's a lot of these coaches. There's a lot of coaches and organizations and people that are involved with sports. And I can only speak for basketball because that's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
But who don't know what they're doing.
Right.
Who just are in position because of people that they know. Like I said, I could have coached back in New York. I've had plenty of opportunities where everybody wanted, hey, you want to come over here and coach? You want to come over here and coach? One? No, ain't nothing personal, but I do things different. It's not gonna work. I really can't be somebody else's assistant coach and all this stuff like that, because it ain't too many people got the same philosophy as me as basketball. And that's the same way with work. This is why I work for myself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do well working for people when I feel like things should be done a certain type of way. And I got to deal with the consequences of your thoughts and your process towards this when I know this should be done and it'd be much easier being done this way. So this is why I do my own thing. This is why I get my own program. And that's why I'm trying to show people like it could be done right. And it's people that are doing it right. You know what I'm saying? Right. But it's just a new day and age where when we was coming up, all right, so I don't even consider it AAU. I played and we went away places, but nobody labeled it as AAU.
Right.
This was just my team. We're going to New Orleans to play in this tournament, and we're going to be there. We're going to Florida to play in this tournament, and it was just the name of the tournament. Nobody never told us we was an AAU traveling team. Right. All of that stuff came later on down the line when people AAU traveling, or as far as New York is concerned, because it might have been going on in other states and whatnot. And like I said, like I missed that. Like I said, at 16, I was playing Rucker. I was playing Unlimited. Other dudes was going away with Riverside and these other teams going to Orlando. And that's when they started, oh, we play AAU. What's name? And like I say, it was the Elton Brands and the, Eric Barkley's and all of those that were playing and going places and traveling. They played a little bit of the, the Rucker stuff and whatnot, but they were putting their stuff on the stage in front of college coaches and schools and college atmospheres.
Right.
I'm playing in front of the hood. You know what I mean? So I tell them, like, man, I can only imagine if I decided to play AAU at 16, when I could go up to 55th and get 10, 12 points against grown men there.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what I could have did against kids my age. If I'm getting 10, 12 points at 55th at 16, 17 years old, playing against some of the legends that were out there. If I was playing against a kid that went to high school, he's getting 30. You know what I'm saying? But for me, that wasn't their law at that time. There wasn't the social media aspect to it. At that time, it was just the street buzz. So the same with Melo, like, man, as long as my hood loved me, didn't matter. Like I said, getting away from humble, whatever. Like, I'll say this, man, I'm goated to a certain extent. You know what I mean? As far as in New York City, I get a lot of respect as far as basketball is concerned. And, some may consider me the best. Some may consider me all right. But I never had nobody talk bad about me as far as sports is concerned. So I can only imagine if it was, that's what I tell them now, like, yo, if it was cameras and all that, like I said, I was doing Ja Morant stuff back then. So I can only imagine me taking off on somebody and they got all the cameras. And I told him, I said, I would have had a deal right now. I would have this, that, and the third. But, I just didn't know no better back then. So like I said, I went to Rucker. I was playing in Dykeman. I was playing in all those tournaments. And some of my friends was going to Orlando, going to Vegas, going to, Virginia to play. And that's how they got some more doors open as far as college looks. Now with what's going on, like I said, I tell everybody now, you don't got to play nowhere. All you got to really do is have a good footage. Somebody to really film what you're doing and chop it up right and make it look good. And all you got to do is put it on social media, add your hashtags, and you could be a star by tomorrow. So the same thing with the Mikey Williams thing. Like, he was honestly like one of the very first kids who I feel like took a great advantage of his platform and everything that went on with it. You know? And again, I don't think it was something that he planned to do. It was just the fact that he was just a good basketball player showing up and whatnot. You know, one of the first kids that was open to accepting one of them NIL deals and things like that, where other people were probably like, I want to, but I don't really know the repercussions of this and this, that, and the third. He took it on. So I feel like even with him, I feel like those are some of the things. It was great, but those are some of the things that might have hurt him as far as his McDonald's selections and things like that and whatnot. Even though, like they said, with Bronny, oh, well, he this, that, and the third is that, and he do have endorsement deals and stuff like that. But just like we say, every year there's always going to be people that should be on that people feel like shouldn't be on. Right. Oh, well, he shouldn't be there. This kid should be there. He should be there. And what I say in regards to Bronny's situation, people go, well, what about so-and-so? What about this guy? What about this guy? What about this guy? I'd be like, yo, y'all named 4 players that y'all feel like Bronny, he should have his spot. So look, if Bronny gone, still got 3 players left that y'all name. Who these other spots they taking? Because ain't nobody talking about that. That's only he's only one spot, but y'all named 4 people. So it must be some other players on there that y'all feel ain't like that, but y'all ain't bringing it up. Y'all bringing him up because of everything that goes along with it. Oh, and like I still get it. People, oh look, like somebody sent me something the other day. Yeah, that's he got killed by this guy and all this other stuff like this. Everybody does. Everybody goes through phases where they don't have the best game, the all-stars and all that stuff like that. In my opinion, I feel like the kid is good. He knows basketball, and that's what they're doing. And just like we said a little while ago, if it is because of his dad, I don't care. I'm happy for him.
Yeah, I have to say,
I want to be able to do special stuff for mine. Hey, you know why you getting that? Because of your dad. That's what we all strive to do.
Yeah,
legacy.
Yeah.
Listen, I have to say, I'm one of those, rare folks that I'm happy them kids is getting NIL deals.
Oh yeah,
and I'll tell you, because in so many systems and so many, even bigger than basketball, so much money is being made on the backs of these young kids. And I'm just happy they're able to get some of that, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait to see more happen for them financially, because it's like Mike said, none of that was for us, right? None of this existed. We didn't get none of that. And I'm just happy somebody's getting it. And man, I'm happy as the kids. So, I'm gonna advocate forever. They should, their name, logo, likeness, anything they should always get paid for. I'm all for it, man. I'm loving it. And it's unfortunate, Mike. You said it's unfortunate. Every year someone's gonna get left out.
Right.
Every year it's gonna happen. I do think that it was great that Bronny got in for, because I always try to look at it different. Because of Bronny, other people are going to get seen that normally wouldn't, right? Because there are people that don't watch the youth, but they are like heavy LeBron James fans, and they may just watch because of that. And any other exposure someone else can get because of that, and they can benefit from that. Listen, I want to see them win. So if this is a little cheat code, I'm all for it. Put Bronny in, goddammit. Let's get a little cheat code and let some other kids shine too. And I'm all for it, man. Because I always try to see it a little different. I could see it the way everyone else saw it and be like, oh, this guy didn't get in. But I see it like there's going to be a few other people that's going to benefit because of this. Yeah. And there's going to be a few people that weren't talked about. Someone might flush it on Bronny, and now he become a household name.
Right.
It could be anything. Bronny being there is important for the overall aspect of attention to that game. And I think it's important. I'm all for it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with both of you guys. With that situation, Bronny being, seemingly the gate attraction, people, it's up to you whether you're involved in the game as his teammate or as his opponent. You show up and you show out, and it will always present yourself an opportunity. That's in anything. not solely on sports or anything like that. Even in corporate America, when you get a piece of recognition from anything that you do, your name is forever stamped on it. So, okay, Jason did it, Michael did it, Clem did it. And that's what you're recognized at. That is your likeness and notoriety right there. Therefore, people are going to want to work with you. Collaborations, you're going to be part of teams. You're going to be seemingly in demand. I think with the AAU landscape right now, I agree with you guys. The NIL is phenomenal. Even when we were coming up, it's like a mute point and the worst secret in the world. People were getting bags. People were, getting stuff paid for them. You're right. People were getting paid.
The streets took care of me, baby.
Yeah,
I can say
know,
it now. What's it? The statute of limitations?
Yeah. It's gone.
Yo,
I know quite a few.
Limitations is gone.
Yeah, because when you had mentioned Riverside, I think you forgot I played Riverside for quite some time. So I knew what it was.
Not to cut you off. Like I said, it was enticing to say, like my boys played. They coming back every week with a pair of Jordans.
Yep.
I knew certain, but again, I don't want to, say some of the crazy stuff. They said it was other things going on for some of that money too. So when you see people getting stuff, then you got to look at them crazy. Like, did you do something to get that? Did you score 20? Or did you do something else to get that? Because it was people. Now, like I said, I know people who was like, their houses were being taken care of. Their bills were being taken care of. And
I'll put it further to you. I know some people that, like, let's say they got themselves in quite some situation, whether it be with their girlfriends or, trouble with the law. And, certain people that had pull with certain people kind of got them off. And there was a lot of hush hush, but let's just say their records are sealed and nobody will find out.
Like I said, I talk to my son now all the time about this because, he wants certain sneakers and this, some of them Jordans 300. I'd be like, bro, get nice. Get one of these deals.
Yeah.
Like I said, I told him when I played and stuff like that, there was a lot of things given away. And there's even more being given away now because you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Without having to worry about doing this stuff now. Back then, you couldn't say you was getting money from somebody who was helping you out or whoever it was. And like I said, for me at the time, it would have been a negative thing compared to anybody else. Because I tell you straight up, drug dealers took care of me. Yeah. I played for the hustlers. I played for people who were getting money in the streets, and they took care of me and stuff like that at different times. And I went through a phase where I wasn't a kid who, like, I've seen people who didn't do as much as me get money. I was blessed that my family really took care of me, and I was good where I didn't really need much. So when I got to the older age, when I was young, people did, I just took. You know what I mean? Here, here's some money for your pocket. Like, I had dudes that, God rest his soul, my man Lee, Big L brother, I used to play for Big L and them. I ain't have to worry about nothing.
Yep.
I never walked anywhere. I could hop in a car, take a cab uptown, and anybody on the block who was out there, if Lee wasn't out there, who you up here for? Oh, Lee out here? Nah, Lee ain't here. They paying for it. What? Yeah. Oh, we gotta get the cab?
Right.
Here. Oh, Lee, he'll probably be back in an hour or so. Here. I've had it where dudes took, like, if all three of us went up there, all three of us got money. Right. I come uptown and be like, yo, we about to go out. Here. Yeah, men's got money. Here for your men's. Like that. I've taken other dudes uptown and put them on, and they played for the same dudes, and they got their fair shares of money and stuff like that. I still, I bring it up with Cam and stuff like this. I used to ride around with Cam. When Cam used to come get me for certain games and pick me up in the Harlem, and we ride around and whatever it was. He got me the Iversons. He played for Tiny Bum and them and whatnot. And like I said, but that's what it was back then. You know what I mean? But like I said, as I got older, I was able to keep money for myself. But I even had it where, dudes from my neighborhood. I still remember the story. One of my stories that was always dope for me. Dude, they're gonna say his name, but I grew up with him. A little bit old, maybe a year older than me, maybe, or might be the same age. But he was always heavy in the street since we was a kid. Played for him. I needed some money to do something to go back to school. He came to me and everything out his pocket. He said, "Yo, Mike, you don't never got to worry about nothing." He said, "The one thing I respect about you, you never stop. You never stop. No matter what, since a kid, since we known each other, you stayed the course. You went through the middle school, the high school, the college, and all of that. You don't got to pay me back nothing." Right. And like I said, I never forget that when he said that. And I was just like, and then I started being around other people, and they were just like, "Yo, like, I'd do whatever for you because I know how you move." You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that. So that was always to heart for me because I was like, yo, my hood really, really fuck with me. You know what I mean?
But you know what the defining point in what you just said and all of that is that they respected your hard work. And I think that's the element that gets missing a lot. Like, I don't take anything away from the athleticism, or even the showmanship. We evolve, we grow. Things are different. Even for our day, it's different now. But with that being said, for me, I think the pain point for me is that just the overall work, the basics are missing. Like, it's hard. And for you, I know you probably are just like grinding your teeth every time you see someone pick up a basketball because it's just not there. It's not, whether it's within your son or, the supposed kid that's supposed to be great or whatever the case may be. Even now, even a product that we watch, whether it's college basketball or NBA, it's not that great. Like, we know certain people, and even like when we were talking offline, like, as hated and as despised as Kyrie is, people, get over yourself. He is fundamentally sound and skillful, if not the most skillful person that's ever touched the basketball.
Boy, I be watching that dude do certain things and just trying to understand his concepts towards certain stuff,
right?
And his feet placement, his body placement, and like, that, like, some of the stuff that he does is unreal. Yeah. The left hands, the right hands, and all of that, to have that much control of your body like that is crazy. So just like I said, even with my son, I tell my son all the time, I'm like, bro, with me starting this AAU, I said, you played for a lot of other people. You never played for me. I said, yo, you lucky you my son. That's why you probably gonna make the team. Like,
that's real.
It ain't guaranteed anything. You got to work. If I find players that's better than you, they're gonna play. You're going to have to earn your time on this court. You're going to have to earn it. And then there's other people who let their children play and they let them do whatever they want because that's my child.
Yeah.
And that doesn't hold no – that's why I said it's – people work with kids and they put them in boxes. Like I said, the kid that just left my house a second ago, he plays a big man for his team because he's trying to – he's big for his size. But I said, bro, like, you're a guard. Yeah. You about to get ready to go to you I think he's 6, about to go to 7th grade or whatever it is. I said, but next year you're a guard. Like, why not teach these kids everything? They put these kids in a box at an early age. Oh, well, this kid is this tall, here's what he's gonna do. So we're just doing this with him. This kid is this is what we're doing with him. Again, teach, but again, everybody can't do it. So I get it. So that's why I said I feel like like I said, put the bat signal in the air, whatever it is. I'm really here to try and save the game to a certain extent and show people how it's supposed to be done when you give all kids the opportunity to be the best player. Not one kid. Like I said, today might be your day, tomorrow might be his day. And there's always going to be a difference of who plays a little bit more at times and stuff like that, but it's all earned. It's never just because you're this, because you're that. And that's what I said. A lot of kids are in situations like that because, like I said, when I came up, there were only a few places to play. You didn't have the opportunity to say, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm going over here. I'm leaving tomorrow. Like you can switch it. You can switch teams every week right now if you wanted to. That's how many programs is around.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm starting my program is all I gotta do is pay for it, and I got it. I'm AAU. You know what I mean? It was a different kind of process with that stuff before all of this. So now because of that, you have kids who, like I said, and parents who don't make their kids work it out. Who don't, hey, you're not getting playing time, we're gonna take you somewhere where you can get playing time. Right. Instead of making that kid work through it and have to earn their playing time. So just to piggyback off of that and go into something next that just came to my mind with this. As we said, the NIL stuff, right? I feel like, again, it is great for these kids. There's no way around it. I feel it's great. To me, it goes right back to Chris Webber with his situation, where that's where I feel like all of this stuff started, where he should be getting paid. He's generating so much money for the University of Michigan, and he's talking about he can barely eat at night. Like, that's not right. You know what I'm saying? That's not right at all. So now with everything going on and name, image, and likeness and stuff like that, like, yeah, man, if these kids are generating this type of something for these podcasts or these YouTube channels or, you know, just social media and bringing in all this, they should be rewarded handsomely for it because somebody else is getting paid.
Yeah, I think to follow up what you're saying also, there's just this weird sense that people need to understand. The football team pays for a lot of what these schools, you know, are getting. Like Michigan University, you think you have a whole law building because you had a good debate team or something like that? No, you don't. You have that building standing up there, as prestigious as it is, because the football team is successful and is on ABC damn near every other weekend. That's why you have that. Similar with UNC, Duke, a whole host of these blue blood schools and, you know, Power 5 and things like that. You're going to get a lot of these new fancy buildings, new structures, exorbitant amount of, you know, salaries for even some of these professors. Why? Because someone from some, you know, urban area or whatever the case may be, less fortunate, obviously, than that professor and so forth, can dribble basketball, can run a fast 40, and can be utilized in such a way where that team wins. Nick Saban only gets paid handsomely. Why? Because he's a continuous mill of winning. He's won however many championships he's won for Alabama, and people need to understand, when you win, you can act any way you want. The only thing people respect is winning. So, you know, with all that kind of, you know, stuff of, his brash attitude, this, that, and the third, so what? Especially, you know, if we take it a step further in politics and stuff like that, people will look at certain people and have their certain distinctions about them and what side of the fence you stand on. At the end of the day, they don't care, because when they get into office, they're going to implement what they want to implement. It doesn't matter if you voted for him or we didn't vote for them. It's going to take place. So everybody just needs to take several seats and just relax.
Right.
But, you know, with sports, you know, yes, I agree with you, Mike. It's hard, but for me, it's very hard, which is why I never, and a lot of people ask me why I don't go into coaching and stuff like that. First of all, I don't have patience. I have patience far beyond anything. But when it comes to sports, I don't have it. I don't have your touch. I don't have the Deion Sanders touch. I don't have that. Because if you're doing something, if I have to tell you, it's almost like when we talked about in previous episodes. If you're going to ask me something and I give you the answer, don't ask me 15 times later on down the line. That's a quick way to annoy basically anybody. And still to this day, I'm still like that. There are people that will ask me a question knowing damn well I've answered it, but because you don't receive it the way that you want to receive it, doesn't give you the green light to keep asking me, because that you're opening up a box and opening up the door where it's going to create a problem for yourself, and you're asking for it. So, when it comes as it pertains to sports, it's like you have to be patient, which you are. I've known you for a lot of years, and I know you about, teaching the right way. Like trust me, I've been around you, Mike, for enough. We played basketball with each other and against each other. I do know you can color outside the box if you felt like it, because I've been on teams with you when you did it, when you wanted to be off script. But I do know you have the core skills to be successful, whether it be leadership, communication, and just flat out getting the job done. You have a plan in place. You've always been a dude that's followed the plan, but you're also the same guy that will move to his own beat. And you have it. Not a lot of people have it. And you've always been a person that will, put the pen to paper and get the plan going.
And that's my bad.
God.
No, and that's what I try to tell people. Like, there's a lot of people that can coach, but they don't have that connection with the people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can't make a kid understand. You can't find a way to make this kid understand where you're coming from to be able to get what you want out of them as a player. I haven't had a problem with that. You know what I'm saying? Because I go back to this with some friends that I know and all this, man. I get a lot of people that hit me up that used to play with me and played against me and stuff like that. And the same way I coach now is like, yo, like, you never made me feel like I was less of a player being on your team. Like, yo, you were like, when people be telling me, like, yo, like, you were up here and you never acted like you were up here. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as people looked at me like, yo, Mike McLeod, blah, 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 blah. But, hey, man, I'm giving everybody the rock. I ain't just looking at, like, I've had friends, like, people tell me, like, yo, like, you was the only person that really used to pass me the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like, you on the court, we playing. Now, just like I tell every kid, I might put you in a good situation where I'm giving you the ball at. I ain't giving it to you to bring the ball all the way up the court when I know you can't dribble like that, but I might hit you right under the basket and you just get an easy or spot up jump shot. You know what I'm saying? But that was me. I was also able to tone people down as well. You know what I mean? I talked to my son about that where he played with some kids. I'm like, bro, like, you let these dudes take all these shots and be turning over and you just be out there just letting it happen. Like me, I'm coming down. I'm going here. Because this dude that took 3-4 shots in a row, ain't getting back on defense, this, that, and third. I'm feeding somebody else. And, you know, and that's what I say about the LeBron situation and going in LeBron. Like, the one thing I learned about him as well is that people used to always get on like, yo, why he don't do this, don't do that? Because he know he could do it whenever he wants to. He got to get his team going. So he feeds them first. Okay, y'all rolling. Now I can get into my stuff. That was the difference with Kobe. Kobe's out the gate on his. He had to learn later on, I got to get these guys going. And, you know, I can't just, hey, I'm rolling. Y'all should be rolling too. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference in that. And like I said, again, AAU right now, like I said, it gets so much the negative because, like I said, just social media, the internet, that's what they're going to highlight in situations. Nobody's talking about that kid that, like, it was a post, and y'all might have seen it. There was a post of a kid. They had him sitting at a game. He might have been a big man, but he's at the game sitting. He got a laptop and some other stuff, and he's doing his work while he's at the game.
Yeah.
Nobody really talked about that.
Yeah.
Nobody. Like, that's rare. He's at a game, watching the game, but he's sitting down making sure he's getting his work. He got a laptop, book, and he's at the game watching, but at the same time doing his work or whatever it is he's doing. We don't talk about that. And that's the same thing that we talk about in regards to doing this podcast, in regards to people talking up. We're not giving enough light to the ones that are doing the right thing.
Yeah,
and like I said, Bronny James is one of those kids that is doing the right thing, that they're giving the light to, and people are upset about giving the light to this kid. And then, oh, because of this, and oh, because of that. Like everybody else had those same opportunities. Why we mad when one of ours have those same situations?
Right. You raised you. That's a hard driven point, and even I think we're about to touch on it. As far as like the difference between suburbia, inner city kids, and even overseas kids now.
Mm-hmm.
The overseas kids now, they're taking over. If you pay attention to all sports in its totality, especially now highlighted in the NBA, your top 5 players, they weren't born here. And people are like, some ways questioning it, but what is there to question? They work hard. Like you have a kid like Luca. Luca's probably what, 23, 24 years old. He's been playing since he's
Bro,
14
right,
against grown men.
bro.
And he looks slow as molasses, but the kicker is that he sees the game 10, even 15 steps ahead of everybody else on the court.
Right.
And he's worked at this at the age of 13. 13 playing against grown men.
Yep.
But you who comes from inner city of New York, Chicago, this, that, you're going to complain and cry because you're playing grown men. You have to step your effort up.
Not even playing grown men. Most of y'all are reclassified.
Right. Right.
So
Exactly.
you're a grown man playing against kids, and you feel like you're like that. And then when you meet up against these other grown men, you can't compete at the level that you felt you should be competing at because you wasn't prepared for this. Like I said, y'all seen the next one with Kobe. I got the picture of my boy Kobe guarding a grown man at 13 years old.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the same thing that goes into this, is that we pick and choose how we want to develop our kids in certain situations. Like I said, well, when he gets to this age, they're just a kid and this, that, and the third, and so on and so forth. I tell my son now, he's 12 years old, bro, you got to figure out what you want to do with your life right now. So we can get on the path to, if you want to really do basketball, then that's what we're going to do. If you want to do your education thing, you got to get on it, because you 12 right now, you 13 coming up, you're going to be in the 8th grade, one more year of that, then you're in high school. You're supposed to know what you want to do with your life really when you get into high school, because then you could start making your way and maneuvering towards what you want to do. Remember, with us, we ain't really start thinking about college, none of that stuff until your junior year.
Yeah.
Our era was junior year when you really started talking about college and financial aid and, scholarships and all that stuff like that. Now these kids is talking about it early. So they got an idea of what they want to do. They're like I said, like even with the kids that I'm dealing with and that I'll have on my team, the parents don't know yet, but first day of practice, every parent got to bring their report card.
Yeah.
All the players got to have a 3.0 grade point average. If not, you got to do some type of studying. You got to tell me where you want to go to school. Not even where you want to go to school, what you want to go to school for. Because that's one of my things. What you want to go to school? What do you want to be? You can't answer that, then we got a problem outside of sports. You want to be an entrepreneur? Because that's one of the easiest things they say. But entrepreneur in what?
Yeah.
Because that's what they say. I want to be an entrepreneur, but in what? What are you going to do that? So now, since you want to be an entrepreneur, what's the best school for you to go to be an entrepreneur? Are you going to go to Duke because Duke's giving you this, but it doesn't set you up as far as what you want to do outside of basketball? Right. Or are you going to go to Duke because you want to be a doctor? Duke is a medical school. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to be a doctor, then yeah, that's where you should be going. And I've had this conversation a long time ago with my little cousin, because and he didn't play sports, but he was gifted as far as, educational. And he wanted to do veterinarian work at the time. And what I ask a lot of people when they come to this, I say, are you doing it for the love, or are you doing it for a check? If you're doing it for the love, then it's whatever it is. You don't care what the money is. But if it's about a check, you need to really review and see how much money these people make. And like I said, that's the next thing. So for my players, I want to know what you want to do as an adult outside of basketball. Then after that, I need you to find out where they pay the most money for the job that you want to do. Right. Because you might, like I said, you might want to be what was it right now? I can't think of it, but whatever it is, you want to be that, but you want to live in New York. They don't pay that much in New York for this job, but they might pay a whole bunch in Idaho for that position. They might pay a lot in Cali for that position. Now you got to incorporate all of that because now you're getting all this money, but then you got to go with Cali living. I just seen a thing in New York, and this is my first time ever where I was just like, wow. Nice 1-bedroom. But as soon as you come in, you walk right into the kitchen. Huge bedroom. Huge living room. But everybody like, $5,000 a month. 1 bedroom. $5,000 a month. I was like, I seen it today. I was like, wow. This was my first time because everybody talked to me about New York. Oh, New York, this, that, and third. That's why you left New York. No. I was paying $1,600-1,700 rent when I left in 2015.
Well,
I felt that was cool. But now I'm out here paying the same thing as well, too, so it don't bother me. But when I hear 5,000, 1 bedroom,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
That's that. But again, you pay for it. Like, and that's the same thing I tell people about being down south. You pay for the luxury of having things. Like, I can't just walk. Like, I got to go to the store in a minute. I got to hop in the car and go.
Yeah.
There's a store not too far, but I'm not walking that. You know what I'm saying? New York, you have that luxury. I come right out the building, right across the street where I live from the corner store. I might not even fully get dressed to go to the store. I'm shorts, a hoodie, and some slippers, and run across in the snow where it used to be blizzarding. Run across the street, hit the store, run right back. Just hope I got the key to get back into the building, or gotta wait for somebody to come out.
All right, buzz
you know what I'm saying? But here, it's different. So again, it back to like the AAU and stuff. Again, it just has to be more people that are really invested in these kids, and as far as doing it the right way. And that, like I said again, that's not even AAU. That's just
life.
Basketball. That's just sports in general, because you have referees, you have coaches, you have people who let a lot of things slide, and these are some of the negative characteristics that these kids carry on to the next level. So with my closing statement in this is that this is why I'm doing what I'm doing, is to kind of, not a breath of fresh air, but kind of like bring it back to where it should have been and where it is with certain teams and stuff like that. Like I said, the other teams get highlighted because you let these kids do anything. So if you let kids do anything, that's what the players going to come. I ain't got to come to practice. I ain't got to show no respect. I ain't got to this, that, and the third. I'm going here because I ain't got to deal with nothing. They don't want to go to the coach that's going, hey, like I said, where's your report card? What you got going on outside of school? You working this year? You doing some like community service, things of that nature, preparing them. Because like I said, I listen to these things now, and I try to tell people about all this stuff that's going on, bro. It is a lot more to becoming a pro athlete than just being able to do your job on the court now or on the playing field. It's a lot more than that. And you can be nice, but like I said, if you want to be one of the people who's legendary and whose longevity is LeBron James's and the Luka Doncic's and all of stuff like that, the stuff that they do outside of the court is what really gets them there. And I'm not just talking about the working out and stuff, all the community stuff, the way they carry themselves and things like that. Like for me, John Morant, I love John Morant, but I'm kind of over all of the extra with him and his dad and all this stuff like this. And then you kind of, oh, this, that, and third. Your dad's saying stuff to people. Your dad is on the sidelines saying stuff to the players, and then when a player say something back, as I said, that one time, me and John might have got into it. Because like I said, I lose it off of situations like that. Like, yo, don't be talking to my pops. What you mean don't talk to your pops? Your pops don't say nothing to me. I don't know that. You know what I mean? Like, he said something to me. You mad because I said something back? Oh, my dad, our bodies, like, what? But that's a whole nother, thing. But I got nothing but respect for him because, like I said, he's one of them dudes that grinded, that made his case, that really showed out and earned where he's at. You know what I mean? One of the most outstanding players there is, but, just the other stuff. So right now, just trying to clean the game up, man. That's all I'm really trying to do.
Jay?
Yeah, so I want to add that I think parents and aunties and uncles and just everyone involved when they know that their child, nephew, niece, grandson uh is getting involved in AAU, that you have to assist in the development, right? I mean, like, there's always a high emphasis on the coaches, and that can be very taxing, especially when parents have an over expectation of the coach being the third parent, right? And in some situations, the second parent. So I think parents have to realize that you may not be able to run drills at home, right? You might live in one of those small one bedroom apartments and you can't run drills at home with your child, and you may not understand the drill, but you can assist in the mental and the emotional aspect of respect, admiration, teamwork, development. I mean, you can work on all the other angles that will assist the coach, and you got to respect the coach and
Yeah.
trust that the person that is spending time with your child and a collective group of teammates of your child's, you have to trust that they know what they're doing that's best for that particular game on that particular evening or afternoon. You can't just be yelling and harping, my kid ain't get the minutes, and your kid may not have earned the minutes, and we tend to be biased for ours. And as parents, I get it, but that doesn't help the game moving forward. I think that we as parents and as immediate relatives have to be honest with ourselves about our
Mhm.
situation with the children that we're putting out there. And we have to work. We can't just be like, all right, they know how to play ball, they got talent, boom, we're winning.
Hmm.
That ain't enough.
Right.
Yeah.
So, my
Uh,
message, my closing statement is to them parents.
yeah. And then it's definitely well received. You guys raised some good points today, and very impactful. I think for me is my message is directed towards both the parents and the youth, the active participants in it. Um, as it pertains to the kids, male or female, whatever aspect or whatever sport you're doing, understand that we speak from, experience. And what we want you to understand is that number one, cut out the yes people, whether it's a yes man, a yes woman, your hype person, whatever. Ultimately, they're there because they want you to succeed. I don't know what their personal gain is. You don't sometimes know what their personal gain is. But what you have to understand is that you're the one that's putting in the hard work. If you don't put in the hard work, there's no reward at the end of the tunnel. People want to be around you when you're winning. When you fall off that cliff, nobody wants to stand near you. That's the harsh reality that you're going to have to understand just in life in general.
Right.
People want to be around winners. When you're on top, you're everybody's friend. You're everybody's
Oh,
favorite player. You're everybody's legend. You are, as Mike said, you are probably even their GOAT in some eyes. But you and only you know the pain and suffering that you put into your craft. If you don't do it, nobody's going to do it for you, because it's cute, it's nice. You can be on social media, you can have a million likes, people can be writing and following you and stuff like that. But when you get in between those lines, if you don't show out and you get yourself embarrassed, that's the lasting imprint that people will remember. And that will test your mental, because if you're not mentally tough, you're going to break. And that's what competition is about. I think what gets lost a lot of times is that when we talk about sports or just anything in life in general, there's a definite heavy aspect of competitiveness. People compete. When you go to a job interview, what do you think that is? You're
right.
competing. It's not only you applying. There's probably thousands of people applying for that same role. If you happen to get selected, someone saw something in you. You probably interviewed well, you probably spoke well, or your skills transition into what said position. But with that being said, also we've raised the part the parents play, the guidance. Parents, no one's saying you have to be a former, professional player, but you know how everyone says he has no home training, she has no home training.
Right.
You have to understand you play a vital part. You play a position in it because your kids are a reflection of you. I was always taught, and I know these guys have always been taught, their parents, whether it's the mother or father, what they tell you, don't go out there and embarrass me.
Right.
So when you're doing something, understand there's a lot of weight that you're carrying. Your mom is there, your dad is there, but the onus goes on to them as well because they raised you. You had no choice of coming into this world. They raised you. So they're providing you with a blueprint. If you don't, look to your coaches. They're not trying to shit on you because they think you're terrible. They're talking to you because they want to guide you. Listening is a tool that needs to be utilized more because if you don't do it, then what you doing it for? What you playing the sport for? Whether you're playing the sport or whether you're applying to a job, if you have no aspirations in listening, don't do it because people are dependent on what you do and how you play your part. And that's my take on it, and that's my closing statement. All right, fellas, we have now closed episode 8, and what we would like for you guys out in the public to understand and want is please like, share, subscribe. We are here. Now we're going to be starting to gain into interviews. No, we don't want to interview celebrities. If we do, fine, we won't turn it away. But we do want to start interviewing people where they tell their stories, where we can have a collective Q&A and, you learn something about someone that lives right next to you, sits right next to you, even works right next to you. You never know who you might know in translation. So with that being said, I'm Clem Boogie. That's Jay. That's Mike. Together, we are straight to it. So we'll check you out next episode. All right. Have a good one, people.